Welcome everyone to the first episode of Charlie's Reviews. Um, so, why the name change? Well, basically, it all started um, last week. Um, as you know, I actually called my review videos quick reviews, but they weren't really quick at all. Uh, I- you know, and I actually jokingly, said Uh, in my introduction, I was kind of jokingly saying that, this is, um, this is where the word quick doesn't really mean anything or something like that. Uh, so I kind of joked about that, and you know, Sleepy Reader actually gave me a few suggestions about how I should handle the whole review thing. Uh, I originally intended them to be quick reviews because I actually sort of just wanted to focus on the reviews, but I actually end up talking about a ton of stuff, like I'm doing right now. Um, um, but I really can't spend too much time uh, reviewing one book, at a time, or doing a series of videos. Because I also don't want to put too many videos up, and those of you who are subscribed to me get too many you know too many videos from me in your feeds. Um, so um, I kind of started thinking how I should approach my channel, since my return. So um, starting today, you know, I will take my time reviewing the books that need to be reviewed, because there are books that are worth the being talked about in great detail, and some that I could, pretty much skim over if it feels too repetitive. Um, One of the things I wanted to do with the quick review thing was, just talk about two or three books or one book, or any books that I think are worthy of talking about. Uh, So that wasn't really working because, like I said, I did do quite a few longer videos reviewing, and sometimes, when I do have a heavy, several books that I do want to talk about, sometimes, I really can cut certain books um, as I wanted them because there's like something that stands out from them, or I'm complaining about whatever, in complaining about the issue, like I did last week with Action 33. So now with this being Charlie's review, I'm also gonna start doing like a vlog, an occasional vlog, which will be Charlie's vlog, not too original, but kind of keeping it into a theme. Um, and I will still continue to do the occasional comics and beyond, though, um, to show off stuff that I want to show off that is necessarily related with comics. Uh, uh, and that will be just me talking about whatever's on my mind. On Comic Con, I'll continue with that. Occasionally showing off stuff in my collection, and some other interesting things. So, anyways, I've been talking for almost 5 minutes about the changes. So let's get on to the books. So this week was a very light week. Only two books came. I only got two new books, but I did get a bunch of. And I actually got three back issues. So before we get to the new books, I'm gonna show the back issues, and one of them is sort of a back issue because it's actually a very new book. It came out this month. I think it came out about 3 weeks ago. But it wasn't in my shop, and I went like spent like the past 2 weeks hoping it would show up at the shop. I didn't see it until this week. Went to the shop on Thursday. That's usually my new comic book day, and I only had one issue of this book. And this is a book I've wanted to read for a long, long time. I mean, it's like one of my most anticipated books of the month, and that's Ghost number 5. Um, so I finally got a chance to read it. I like the art. New artist is taking over in the art in this book. Um, the writing is done by Chris Sabala, who was co-writing with Khalil Sudekanek. It is a very wordy book, which I like. I like wordy books. I don't really like having very quick reads, you know. But I do understand why it's extra wordy, um, this particular issue, uh, because basically this is a new arc. So for many people, the beginning of the start of a new story arc is a good jumping on point. So if they miss the past 4 issues, this issue actually catches the new readers up on what's gone before, and at the same time he has to continue with the moving the story forward. So it is extraordinary because new readers need to sort of have an understanding of what happened before, and an introduction to the characters in the book as well. If you've been reading since the beginning, this is actually a bit repetitive, uh, which you know all comics, and I think Sleepy Reader did in his last vlog. He did talk about how old Silver Age books and Bronze Age books and Golden Age books, but especially Silver Age, especially Marvel Silver Age, seemed repetitive, and basically because of shoddy or spotty distribution. uh, Either a reader would miss an issue, so the reader needs to get caught up on what he missed, plus getting a full story, or there's a potential new reader out there who hasn't read any of the other issues before, and so he or she this new reader needs to get context of what's happening or what happened before, and get introduced to the characters that are appearing in that issue. So yes, all comics were very repetitive, and you have to make books accessible to new readers every month, because somebody might look at this cover and think, "Whoa, wow, that's a cool cover," and might be attracted to the book as he or she sees it when he or she sees it at the shop. They might get curious. So you know you have to be a little bit repetitive, with with the storytelling, so the newer reader, uh, can enjoy the issue, can knows what's going on, what went before, who the characters are, and try to catch their attention and hopefully, get a new reader, a new regular reader. So this is what this issue does. This does what every number one issue should do, uh, in getting new readers. So, you know, but I really enjoy it. Can't wait to read number 6. So the other two are, uh, for my Buffy the Vampire Slayer collection. So this is season 8, issue 18. Um, Sorry about the glare there. This is actually, let's see if I can take it out of the bag. I hate it. Never let me tell you about the little accident I had a few weeks ago with an issue of Daredevil that I had. Little taping. So this cover is actually, Dawn, Buffy's magical sister, turned into a centaur. So, yeah, another, growing, uh, another issue to try to get all the issues that my show has of season 8 before I actually move on to season 9. Over there. So anyways, I was telling you I actually had a tape accident, a few weeks ago with an old Daredevil issue of mine. I was actually changing it from the bag that I had from the store. Finally, was decided to sort of get a new bag for it. Turns out that it got caught on tape and the whole cover got a huge tear here on my Daredevil. I believe it's issue Daredevil 68, from the original. See? From the original series. So yeah, that book got a huge tear, in the, hate it, in the cover. So we have to get a new Daredevil 68 one of these days, because horrible tear, halfway through, the turbulence goes from here to here. So anyways, this is, Buffy season 10 number 3. So I'm actually caught up on the current run of the book. So yes, yeah, those are my, back issues for this week. So let's move on to the actual books, the new books. So first off, Superman Wonder Woman number 10. So this was a very good issue of this title. Let me take out the back, of this title. One of the better issues from the Doom storyline. It's mostly action driven. There is some character work done as well. There are 2 fights actually in this book. One takes place in space. The other one is between Lois and, Brainiac Lois. So Wonder Woman versus Brainiac Lois, and I mean, this is good guy. This is so Silver Agey, crazy. I mean, look at that, get transformed into sort of a Brainiac Lewis. So it was a good issue. No complaints at all. It actually picks up where, Action Comics 33 left off, and which is great because for the most part, when you have a when you've gotten a few cliffhanger endings in this crossover, sometimes they just kind of skip, you know, and even if it says continued in this book, uh, sometimes you get something completely different. Yes, it's part of the whole Doom thing, but it doesn't have a nice flow to it. I talked about that, last in my last video, my last review video. This one uh, has a nice flow to it, and but apparently the Super Doom story, it's gonna go through some of the uh, annuals. I'm trying to find if there's like a note for that somewhere. So if it does, no, probably it does. Um, just looking at this, I actually noticed that uh, I actually just noticed that I just actually noticed that there are no actual ads in this issue, except for some, you know, except like at the very end, we get this whole that for Netflix for the Intense #1, sort of like preview, sort of, and the all up this page. But I'm actually give me a sec. So it's actually like 22 pages with no actual ads in it. The first page is like this little recap page, and then you got the credit page, and then the rest of it, no actual ads in it. And they do it to justify the price tag as well as the with the this nice cover. So yeah, sorry for that. So very good issue. I actually do like that it seems that Superman has at least some control over his transformed form. They do address the fact that Lana is with Steel, and Superman actually asks, he actually asks Steel why he actually brought her in. Um, this is a really great page. There are actually two artists working on this issue. Tondale is not doing it. It's actually Paulo Siqueira and Pascal Alex who do the art. Um, so, um, anyways, one of the better issues for Doomed, and I hope that the writing in the as the story continues gets tighter because and doesn't go all over the place like it's been going on since the crossover started. So you know anyways, I'm kind of rambling here. It's because I've been doing this like it's like the fifth take of for this video, so I'm just trying to get things going, and I'm kind of tired, just repeating myself, um but I don't want to do it later because it's kind of taking forever. So, so anyways, finally, Justice League United number three. Now this book isn't in my regular pool. That's why it doesn't have back like Ghost. They aren't in my regular pool list, but they're regular pickups. Uh, so I have been enjoying this book quite a bit. Um, I know a lot of people have dropped it. I enjoy this book. It's completely, it feels more like a Justice League book than the Justice League does. That there are two things that really catch my eye on this series in general, and this story arc in particular. Uh, it so far, this book feels sort of silver agey. Uh, you know, um, I mean, it's got this crazy sci-fi thing going on for it. They are in another planet. They're fighting really weird aliens, which is something, I mean, that the Justice League, used to do fight a bit of, back in the 60s, in the Silver Age. Um, so it feels like that. It feels light-hearted as well. It's completely anti-DC in a sense because it's not so dark and grim like you know a lot of DC books feel these days. Especially those written by J.F. Jones, it sort of feels kind of dark at times, and violent. This is the complete opposite. The heroes are heroes. They're fighting because it's the for something because because it's the right thing for them to do. There's no ego. There is interplay between characters. They do get kind of snarky at times, uh, but they aren't jerks. Um, Somehow when Jeff Jones did started with the Justice League book, Green Lantern was a jerk. Both in the 5 years earlier and then in the current timeline, he in the current moment, issue 1 through 6, he was immature, kind of poking fun at Batman. Then with issue 7, issue 8, uh, which would take place 5 years after the funding of the Justice League. Green Lantern was still a jerk, was still acting immature, so there was like no character development there. Though in his own book, he was completely different. Here is very consistent, the characterizations. I'm actually surprised at the way Lemire has handled Supergirl, because he did say that he wanted the character to be, or describe Supergirl as being, angry and low and a loner, you know, isolated, the anti-Stargirl who's more, positive and bubbly. But she doesn't come across as she doesn't come across as any of that. Granted, this is just like the middle or almost the end of the first story arc. Uh, so who knows what will her characterization will be in the team setting moving forward. Um, the other thing like that I said that caught my attention for this series is that it's very similar plot-wise to the first 6 issues of Justice League by Geoff Johns. Structurally, I mean, it's very similar. Uh, you got a bunch of heroes coming together to fight a threat. And then you have like this little side story, you know, where we're introduced to like the newest member. Uh, for this book, it's Equinox. For the Justice League, it was Cyborg, whose origin, is being told, and sort of linking him to the apocalypse, you know, invasion. But I think this is better written um, than what Jeff Johns did, because Jeff Johns actually kind of contradicted himself when he was writing those issues. What I mean by that is, you know, when we look at Cyborg story, Victor Stone is in Metropolis. We know he's in Metropolis because, we do get like a little caption says Metropolis. And we actually see Batman and Green Lantern, appearing in Metropolis to look for Superman. I think in that very same issue, he is suddenly, in Star Labs Detroit. I mean, it's, you know, how, I mean, it doesn't even seem that there was that much time between scenes. So it makes me wonder, okay, so how far is Detroit from Metropolis? Um, you know, he was here, then he was there, and there was no logical explanation for that, except to move the plot forward, and as well as the story. Um, Here, you don't get that. Issue two sort of had Supergirl show up, randomly. Like she says, no, I was, flying highway through the galaxy for whatever reason, which is unexplained. So she shows up because she has to show up because she's part of the team. So that's probably like maybe it's similar in the whole cyborg thing that I just mentioned, but it was better handled than in Geoff John's case, because we didn't see Supergirl where she was before. Now she shows up and she says that she was flying highway through the galaxy for whatever reason, but it's not like Cyber where he was like magically in two places. Vector Stone was in two places, in a very short span of time. Uh, because I think that did happen in the very same issue. So that's even weirder than Supergirl randomly showing up. But like I say, it's completely anti DC. It's you know later. Each character does get their moments in the issue. They are actually forming a team. Unlike the Justice League, that team doesn't feel like a team. They just feel like a bunch of heroes thrown in together to fight whatever threat. They sort of coordinate, you know, but there's no clear leadership. Maybe Batman leads them, but you know, uh, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. You know, it just doesn't feel like there's any sort of you know tightness to the team. Here, for the most part, at least three members of this team, worked with the Justice League of America. Uh, but you actually do see how Martian Manhunter takes the lead. and actually, you know, has a strategy to pretty much handle two the two crises that they're in. First, you have to de deal with Byte here and Ultra, the multi-human, which um, which is the more pressing concern. The other being that we find out in this issue that when they set up him, the entire group of heroes, along with Byte, Ultra, and Lobo, bringing in the little baby, Ultra the multi-alien baby, it kind of messed up the setup beam, so they have to fix that as well because you know uh, it's in a critical point of there's like this zeta beam feedback between Alana and Adam Strange, so they have to fix that. And apparently there's some risks in trying to fix it. So you know, Martian Manhunter sort of picks the right people to be in the right place at the right time and handle the situation. Uh, Somehow, you know, um, so definitely this is more of a team forming than what the Justice League origin story arc gave us actually. Um, um, so um, so I've been liking what the whole story here. You know it feels like a really no. Take a deep breath. Let's talk about the art, which I've talked about the art before. Uh, this issue though has two colorists working on it. The main colorist, doing is Maiolo. The other one is Dollhouse. Um, so I've often mentioned that this Mike McCone art is a different style for him. I mentioned it before. It's a little bit more streamlined. I think it's very different from what I remember him from his previous work. I've mentioned that before. I actually mentioned that the coloring by Maiolo particularly wasn't really suiting the art as well as Maiolo's work on Sorrentino's art in Green Arrow is because despite the fact that Sorrentino does some traditional layouts, his art is a little bit much more rougher than Macon. Macon's art is a little bit more slicker, uh, much more slicker and streamlined and much more traditional than Sorrentino's art. So Maiolo's particular style actually helps Sorrentino's art more than it does Macone's. But uh, you know, but he still does the very dramatic shots. I mean, it does enhance a bit. It does enhance the storytelling a bit more than a bit more than what a traditional colors would do. I mean, you still get the negative spaces here with the figures. There's some red, with the red background as logo sort of attacks Supergirl. You get the whole. It, I mean, you see how Lobo sort of comes in, pushes it, it sort of really enhances that, uh, the whole, you know, attack. So yeah, so I'm actually, starting to like a little bit more Maiolo's work on this book in particular. Uh, you know, as he sort of keeps adding to the enhancing the storytelling. Uh, but it's not as effective as he is with Sorrentino's art. But you know, because for the most part, this book has a much more traditional style of coloring, uh, you know, than what, you know, what it benefits more this book with a much more traditional style of coloring than with some radically different style of coloring, I guess. So I'm trying to say, my oil, you know, can't do as much with this coloring in this art than what he can do with Sorrentino. I am rambling here, you know, trying to come across uh, my idea. Um, so yeah, I mean, I've been at it for quite a while. So I guess I'll end this. So final word on Just United. I love this book. Well, I like this book, and I keep looking forward to every issue every month. This was a great issue as it heads for the final, uh, um, as it gets to the ending of this arc, and yeah, so that's it for, I guess, for the first episode of Charlie's Reviews. Um, don't forget to comment, especially give me your thoughts on this book. Um, I know people are dropping it. I would like to know why they don't like it. I'm kind of curious. I've never done this before, asking someone why they don't like something. You know, I mean it's not any of my business, but usually, but I'm really curious why people don't like that. But I mean, you know, honestly, I think this is a really fun read every month for me. Uh, you know, it, I mean, you know. Anyways, thank you for sticking with me for almost 40 minutes. If you did, um, so um, I will sign off as I always do. Until next time, keep smiling.